And now for something completely different.
Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Und heute singen alle mit. Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Begaben wir ein Glück. Meine Mama hat gesagt,
ich soll brav sein, schon seit Tag 1. Pack jede Mark in ein Sparschwein. Doch ich wollte nie normal sein, muss ja voll die Qual sein. Steht irgendwann auf meinem Grabstein.
Mama hat gesagt,
bla bla, aber scheinbar herrscht kein zu, seit ich klein war. Ich soll Polizist werden, doch das wäre Schwachsinn. Da müsste ich mich ja immer selber verhaften. Ich soll Lehrer werden, ich soll an die Zukunft denken. Doch auch als Lehrer würde ich Schule schwänzen. Sorry Mann, ich hab einen Schaden. Mir ist egal, was alle anderen sagen.
Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Und heute singen alle mit. Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Begaben wir ein Glück. Meine Mama hat gesagt,
hör auf dein Herz, Junge, kenn deinen Wert, Junge. Geh deinen Weg und auch aus Fehlern kann man lernen, Junge. Du bist ein Astronaut, greife nach den Sternen, Junge. Nur du selber setzt die Grenzen, scheiß auf Erdkunde. Mama hat gesagt, lass den Dingen ihren Lauf. Sie hat gesagt, Junge, lass deine Gefühle raus. Und darum fall ich immer mit der Tür ins Haus. Darum schieß ich ab und zu mal übers Ziel hinaus. Ich weiß, mein Lehrer hätte es anders gewollt. Aber was soll's, heute hängt die ganze Wand voller Gold. Mama hat gesagt, ich bin aus nem anderen Holz. Und heute sagt sie, Junge, Mama ist stolz.
meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Und heute singen alle mit. Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Begaben wir ein Glück.
Ich hab meiner Mama gesagt, Mama, mach dir keine Sorgen. Von bisschen Scheiße bauen ist noch keiner gestorben. Ich weiß nicht, warum ich mir so schwer mache. Ich weiß, es ist heiß und fast wieder auf die Herdplatte. Tanz aus der Reihe, obwohl ich nicht tanzen kann. Immer am Labern, als säß ich im Kanzleramt. Man bringt mich nur zum Schweigen mit Panzerband. Mein Therapeut sagt, ich hab einen Knall wie ein Ballermann. Hab fürs Erwachsenwerden keine Zeit. Das Leben ist schwer, doch ich nehm's leicht. Ich bin nervig, laut und dreist. Dass mir das nicht leid tut, tut mir leid.
Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Und heute singen alle mit. Meine Mama hat gesagt, wenn ich will, kann ich alles werden. Also wurde ich ein bisschen verrückt. Ich war nur in der Schule, um alle zu nerven. Begaben wir ein Glück. Meine Mama hat gesagt,
you got us. I ain't gonna lie, when the music started playing, I was a little disappointed. And halfway, I heard the guy start giggling. I was like,
here we go. Yeah. I started out with the normal one and thought, you know what? Forget it. We're going with the good song.
I liked it.
So, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday evening.
It is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. That means tomorrow's Wednesday.
That is typically how it works.
That's usually. Although if we can find some way to warp till Friday, I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, but then we can't warp next week. My family's coming down to see me, and I kind of want to enjoy that. So,
yep.
And then after that, Chris, I decided I'm joining the gym.
Cool.
Got the diet going. It's time for the gym. Gym time.
Gym time.
Yep.
Yep. Jay Nashville says Steve cleaned up his room a little bit. I see.
I just put the table away. That's literally all it was.
All it was.
Still laying around.
Yeah. I'm gonna welcome in the chat. Steve's painting, so he may not wave, but I'll
I'll
wave.
wave. I'll wave. They get mad if I don't wave.
It's all right. I hope everybody's had a good day. Welcome in Kenneth H, Stacy Rogers, Nicole Happy's Haunt, Jan S. Disney, dear Debbie Burnfeld, good to see you. Fred O'Malley, welcome in. Jay Nashville, hello. Good evening. Debbie Thuner, hello, hello. Let's see, 100 Acre Woods is here, welcome in. Samantha Lowe, what's up, Sam? Hey, hey. Paul Engel, welcome. There is Mar in Memphis, welcome in, Mar, and happy birthday to the birthday girl. Let's see, Jennifer Caruso, welcome. Good to see you. Marguerite Nagy, welcome in. Howdy. And there she is. The lovely, the beautiful, the talented, the sweet, the charming, the snickerdoodle, the Daisy Duck to my Donald Duck, the Jasmine to my Aladdin, Rapunzel to my Flynn, the Jean Grey to my Scott Summers.
No pressure. She got a lot to live up to.
Yeah. My sweet snickerdoodle. The Peggy to my Steve. There you go. Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers.
Oh.
Captain America. Snickerdoodle. Hello, dear.
Hi, Angela.
Let's see. Scroll on down here. There's Stacy Rogers. Jay Theo, Sam Eagle, welcome in. Good to see you. Move Mania Nick. What's up, Nick? Howdy. Stacy, Paul, Angela. Let me jump over here. Main Street Nick, welcome in. Good to see you. Mike 8081C. What's up? Good to see you, buddy. Chris S, welcome in. Jay Grubbs, what's up? Good to see you. Mother Coconuts. Howdy. Good to see you. And I think we got everybody.
Oh, man.
It was a Tuesday. It was a Monday disguised as a Tuesday, but it was a day. So there you go.
I got something to show you later from somebody in the chat that I forgot to send you already. So
Okay.
I will send it to you later.
Cool. Groovy.
I'll tell you after the stream.
Okay.
Just remind me.
I was trying to think if I had any other. I don't have any other news since last night. No.
No.
Just here, hanging out. Shake out the waving cramps.
Yeah.
So work today, and yeah, that's about it. There you go.
That's
Break.
all. Huh?
Big news. That's life. Looked like it was raining down there a good bit today.
Rained a little bit for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy. Apparently, we have in the forecast over the next week 12 inches of rain.
Oh, wow.
That's what somebody told me. I don't know how true that is, but there is rain every day for the next 14 days.
Jeez. We all need it, so that's good, I guess.
Yeah, couldn't have waited until my parents got here and left, though.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll deal with it because we do need the rain.
Um.
Something I never thought I would say in Florida.
Hopefully it doesn't rain while Snickerdoodle's there the whole time.
Oh, it's supposed to. That's this week with the 12 inches of rain. This coming
Sorry,
week.
Snickerdoodle. Kenneth H. made Snickerdoodles tonight. He said I kept talking about them so much. He decided to try to make them tonight.
Very nice.
He sent me a picture of the finished product. It looked more like biscuit doodles than it did Snickerdoodles.
That's okay.
But I'm sure they still ate well.
So did he call them Angela's, though?
He didn't.
Oh.
Yep.
Because they're biscuit doodles, they were fake snickerdoodles.
What?
I said because if they were biscuit doodles, then they were fake snickerdoodles.
Yeah, you could call them Steve's.
No, I asked it Angela's.
Snickerdoodle says she's packing her raincoat and umbrella.
Don't forget your galoshes.
Yep. And now I have the song stuck in my head.
Mama hat gesagt.
No.
What
the
song?
Rhiannon song, You Can Stand Under My Umbrella, Ella, Ella.
Oh, and Tom Holland doing the dance. You've seen that, right? The lip syncing battle. So one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, Mama Debbie, welcome in. Good to see you. I don't feel that, but thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that.
Oh, I gotta take this call. Be right back. Go ahead. Carry on if you need to start reading.
So yeah, got that. Yeah. I don't think there's much else breaking news otherwise. Get the rainboats. Got the rainboats too, she said. There you go. Tonight we're picking up in our book on the chapter titled The Christening. When we last left off, Belle had traded places with Maurice in the castle so that Maurice could be free. Jeanette, Sebastian, Grab. Hey, good to see you. And then in the flashback sequence, Belle was about to be born, if I remember correctly. And yeah, times had gotten pretty rough in the kingdom for magic folk, and there was a lot of hate going around for people that did magic. So, yeah. Kenneth said, thankfully they are tasty, but I have to keep them away from my youngest. Well, good. I'm glad they turned out to taste good. At least there you go. So picking up tonight with the christening, and we're going to do our best to finish out part 1 of the book tonight. There you go. Yeah. Here we go. The christening. Maurice hadn't thought it possible to fall in love with another human even more than he had with his dear wife. And yet he had to be forcefully persuaded to give up tiny infant Belle when it was time to feed her. He handed her over reluctantly, utterly taken by twinkling topaz eyes and chubby pink cheeks. Her mother loved her differently, with a fierceness that grew warier as the days drew on. Warier, I'm not sure. Anyway, smoke from arson fire was a more than occasional sight these first thing in the morning, and always of a Charlemagne business or house. It was not safe for Charmantes to walk the streets alone at night now. Disappearances were becoming more common, and their bodies rarely showed up. And now I've got an invader.
Who's your invader?
The boy child.
Oh. Boo. No.
Okay. He's got a question about, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Go ahead. Pause that. Pause the story. Hello, everybody. I had a phone call. Now he's got a person call. And sometimes the life just doesn't want us to read the book. And then I did something stupid. I mixed colors and started painting. So I have to keep painting while we're reading. Because I can't find a bag big enough to put over. You know what? I do have a bag big enough to put over this to save the paint for when we're done. While he's doing that, I'll show you the paintings from last night. I don't like them. They got too dark. That one I thought kind of looked like a wolf howling at the moon. I don't know. But I do like this one. Really metallic, kind of looks like an ocean in the sky.
I like that.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, there you go. But there it is. That's the one. You can see the metallic on it. It went all the way through. So
it's so cool.
I like this one. I do like that one. I don't like the other one. And then the last one is the Oops. Don't scratch that. Last one was the one we put underneath.
The drip one.
So, the drip one.
I like that, the way that turned out.
I do. I wish I would have done it with the lighter colors, though. So next
Yeah.
time we'll do it, and we'll do it again. Sorry, Chris. Carry on. Where were you at?
No, sorry for the interruption. The dad medicine question.
No worries.
So yeah, times were hard for the Charmentes. It was hard to see which was more frightening, the growing list of the missing or the utter misery of how it was done. The fever had taken out several towns to the north and finally reached the little kingdom. The king and queen did close the borders, but perhaps too late. And so the place seemed more claustrophobic and inescapable, and at the same time frailer, like it was slowly diminishing from the inside out, vanishing along with Les Charmentes. Far fewer friends than Rosalind would have liked came by for Belle's christening. Not even any of her old nemesis who might have jokingly cursed the baby with a penchant for hating carrots or a tendency to sneeze when suddenly exposed to sunlight. There were supposed to be 7 of us here, Rosalind fretted, rocking little Belle protectively in her arms. 7 to weave the charms to keep the baby safe. It's always been thus. Where did my mouse go? Sorry.
You're right.
I am only still here because of you and the baby and the celebration today. Adelis the fawn said. She crossed and uncrossed her goat legs, stretching them out after taking off the giant boots she now felt inclined to wear around town. When we say farewell tonight, I shall depart for islands south of here to join my cousins in the Summerlands, if they still even live. Rosalind, you are not being kind. Your friends would come if they could. Some still cannot because they cannot. Her gift was an acorn blessed to grow quickly into a tree that would protect the new family. Rosalind had it in her fingers and was rolling it anxiously. I'm going to stay, Bernard said. There was nothing outwardly charming about him, at least literally. He had to hunch over to fit in the house and squeeze his arms around his knees to fit in the circle of friends. My family has been here for centuries. We've always been peaceful. Surely people will remember that. It will all pass. It always does, this sort of foolishness. His gift was a plain-looking stone that would guarantee the help of the earth for whatever the family endeavored, wherever they buried it. Yes, and what about the fever someone is coming down with in the eastern quarters? Adelis demanded. How soon is it going to be before someone blames a witch for cursing the kingdom, or a good wife for cooking it up in her cauldron, or a druid in return for something a woodcutter's done? Leave now, I say, before the quarantine is fully in place and you cannot. If we turn the cheek, as it were, and cooperate and show we are as good and loyal citizens as everyone else, we'll be fine. Cooperate, Monsieur Levi laughed. Perhaps if by cooperate you mean politely stick our heads out for the peasants to bludgeon. No, my dears. This is why I moved my own bookshop to the village beyond the woods, near the river. His gift was a pretty picture book whose brightly painted images seemed to move whenever you weren't looking straight at them, and perhaps its stories didn't always end the same way. Rosalind spun to look at him. I thought you were going to the New World. Well, he took off a little moon-shaped spectacles he now always wore and polished the lenses carefully in his shirt. When he put them back on, he looked meaningfully at the baby. Since you named me Godfather, I figured it would be best if I stuck around long enough to see her grow up, in the neighborhood, at least. Rosalind sat down but continued to move nervously, dandling Belle on her lap. The baby clapped her hands as a large pink butterfly appeared, its languorous and unlikely wings propelling it in slow circles around her head. Maurice was refilling everyone's teacups and cordial glasses in the kitchen and listened carefully to everything. I don't want to leave, his wife said. I love it here. I love the people. The people you love are gone, Levi said bluntly. Everyone else is either looking the other way or helping to harass the remaining Charmentes. The countrymen out where I moved, may be uneducated farmers who have their own prejudices, but they certainly haven't locked up anyone over it yet. They're sane, if boring, naturals. No disrespect, Alric. The groomsman shrugged. There is no such thing as different kinds of people, except for the good ones and the bad ones. And the bad ones do seem to have the upper hand these days. His gift was a perfectly forged horseshoe to hang above the door to Belle's room for luck. The door jangled open. A twitchy and nervous Frederic fell rather than walked in like a scarecrow looking for shelter. I'm sorry I'm late, he mumbled. His attire was always perfect, his hair back in a neat, unshowy ponytail tied with a sober black ribbon. Frederic, Maurice cried delightfully, coming in and clasping his friend on the shoulders. I thought you weren't going to make it. Frederic gave a thin smile at his reception, both embarrassed and pleased by it. Then he looked around at the room and his face went pale. You were going to weave a charm with this as one of the 7? Adelise whispered dramatically to Rosalind. Weave a charm? Frederic demanded, horrified. What is this? What are you doing? I never agreed to be part of any magic. And what do you mean? What do you have against magic? Elise said, standing up, putting her hands on her hips. I thought, besides actually being a Charmente yourself, you were educated, unlike the ignorant pig people who are running around like thugs murdering everyone. Now, settle down, everyone, Maurice interrupted, standing between them. This is a christening celebration. That is all, for as far as you are concerned, Frederic. Can you please just drop it for a few moments? For Belle. Guiltily, all of the grown-ups turned to their regard to the baby. She had passed out despite all the noises and slept through with a perfectly peaceful face against her mother's breast. I have a gift, Frederic said awkwardly in the silence that followed. He held out his hand. It clutched an expensive, delicate-looking little toy carriage. Even Bernard, the ogre, looked skeptical. She's a baby, he said in his deep, rumbly voice. She could eat that. We'll keep it for when she's older. Really a lovely gift, Maurice said, quickly taking it and obviously admiring the workmanship. I always used my own accursed gift, Frederic said. For the last time before I remove it, I have discovered a cure, but more on that later. I called forth a vision for you. Everyone in the room looked at him in surprise. Thank you, Maurice said in wonder. But why? Because you're a friend, and because she is innocent. He pointed at the sleeping baby with one long, skinny finger. And what do you mean by innocent, monsieur? Elise demanded with a thinly veiled disgust. You know precisely what I mean, Frederic said. The child has no powers whatsoever. She is pure. Pure? But Adelise started forward. Bernard put a gentle, giant hand on her foot. Please listen. I saw her future. You have to go, Rosalind, Frederic said bluntly. Listen to your friends. Get out. The fever will spread. No one will be able to leave because of the quarantine. Things will get out of control. They will look for someone to blame. They will come here. You should never have revealed yourself to the king and queen. That was a foolish move. I had to stand up for my people. Your people, Frederic said sarcastically. Your sick, diseased versions of true humanity? You community of supernatural lepers. That's enough, Frederic, Alaric swore, standing up. I am pure and have never felt threatened by Les Charmantes. And they are your people too, do not forget. They will come after you just like everyone else, no matter how much you whittle and whine to join their ranks, or try to treat yourself with sulfurs and bloodletting. You have seen this? Rosalind demanded of the doctor, ignoring everyone else. Yes, he said without taking his eyes off Alaric, whose hand had started to go for his belt. You and the baby will get trampled, escaping a riot. Maurice will be beaten nearly to death and lose his sight. He tried to speak as coldly as he always did, but there was a catch in his throat. Even if you left now, there is no guarantee of your safety, Rosalind, he added quietly. Only Maurice and the baby. Things get hazy as the future opens up and paths multiply, but you cannot entirely escape your fate. Everyone in the room was silent for a moment. You did your best, Enchantress, Adelise said gently, putting a hand on her arm. You always have. But the war, I think, is over, and our time in this place is done. Your priority now is raising that child, safe and free, and made to understand that things like we seem to be enduring are not right and shouldn't be, and should never happen again. We should stay and fight, Rosalind half asked, half said to Maurice. Then you will lose, Frederic said simply. Everything. Be our, oh, you know the rest. Belle refused to give in to hunger, but when she had slept and cried as much as her body could stand, her mind grew hungry. All your life you have been waiting for adventure, it said, and now that adventure has have found you, and you're just laying around. If Belle closed her eyes and curled up into a fetal position, she could pretend she was in her own bed back home. This is dumb, her inner voice persisted, laying in this, albeit ridiculously comfy and beautiful, bed when you're in a castle and talking teapots and wardrobes who gossip. Did Gulliver do this when a prisoner at the Brobdingnag court? I don't know. Just sulk and lie around? No, he enjoyed the adventure while doing whatever he could to get home. Belle sniffed one last time and realized her mind was right. She was acting like a baby. She had given her word she would stay here forever. But what precisely was here? Certainly not the cell. He had let her out of it. Certainly not this room. He expected her to go to dinner. So she took a deep breath and rose from the bed as quietly as she could. The wardrobe did nothing. It didn't speak. It didn't bend its wood in strange and elastic ways, imitating human movement. It didn't so much as creak. Perhaps it was asleep or hibernating or doing whatever talking furniture did when it wasn't talking. Belle quickly smoothed out her dress and pushed her hair off her face, tucking it behind her ear. Then, with gentle, stealthy moves, she tiptoed over to the door and let herself out. Where to go first? The teapot. Find her and see if she will talk to me. Belle frowned thoughtfully. In smaller manses, the kitchens were often in the back of the main building so the heat wouldn't suffocate everyone in the summer. She decided just to head that way and descend any staircases she found. The rich carpets on the floors seemed mostly clean, but still puffed up little clouds of dust every ninth or 10th tiptoe. She put her finger out on the handrail as she went down the smooth, poten- potentially deadly stone steps, and her fingertip came back a little gray. What a beautiful place this could have been, cleaned and polished, the sconces filled with beeswax candles. Belle's mind populated the castle with royalty from all the eras she could imagine. Recent ones with great powdered wigs and hats and shapes of fanciful things like ships, great skirts that billowed out, ugly, garish makeup on the faces of those who gossiped behind embroidered silk fans. Renaissance rulers with thick curled collars and poison rings, intellect and conspiracy at every dinner. Ancient kings and queens in long, heavy dresses and cloaks, wise looks on their faces, and solid gold crowns on their heads. Innocents in a world that they believed to possess unicorns and dragons, and maps whose seas ran off the edges. Beyond those, the Tigris were. Of course, maybe around here there were dragons and unicorns. Who knew? They had talking teacups. Belle froze at that thought. The wardrobe looked like just a wardrobe when she was still. How many of these other things were just biding their time, silently watching her until they were called to awaken? She waited a long moment, the same moment of time the child stalls in a half lit in the half lit of a spooky hiding place or a bed or an empty road to see if the shadows were indeed a monster coming to get her or just her father. Wait, what was that? She put a hand to her mouth to stifle a scream. Her heart pounded in her chest like it was trying to break free. Nothing has tried to harm me yet, Belle whispered aloud to give herself courage. She tried to calm and just listen to the darkness. Nothing. But then she turned her head a fraction of an inch, willing her ears to pick up the sound again. Gaston, a superb hunter if nothing else, would probably have had no trouble at all stalking his prey. There. It wasn't anything in the room with her. It was something somewhere beyond, in the direction she was headed, the faint jabber of voices and clinks of pottery being put away. Belle shuddered in relief. Nothing deadly. She started moving again, still tiptoeing awkwardly. The noises grew louder as she drew closer. Several voices were arguing. None, thankfully, were the beasts. She recognized Miss Potts and the high one she had heard before, the butler or whatever. A set of stone stairs led half a floor down. Wonderful smells and heat drifted from a large open doorway at the end. Belle descended cautiously and peeped around the frame. Just a few feet away on the servants' dining table was one of the most wonderful and unsettling things she had ever seen. A teapot, a mantel clock, and a small candelabrum were arguing with one another, bowing and gesticulating and emoting as charmingly as a trio of children who didn't know they were being watched. Belle bit her lip. This really was the adventure she had always been looking for, if she wasn't just going mad. But if the master doesn't learn to control his temper, he'll never break the... Belle coughed politely. Suddenly, all three dropped into a hushed silence and spun around to stare at her, just like servants caught in the act of doing something clever but illicit in a Moliere play. Splendid to see you out and about, mademoiselle, the little clock said, and it was indeed the voice from the outside her door earlier. He waddled forward in a strange, rubbery wooden feet, gilded flourishes below his dial unfurling to become arms as he dipped into a small but graceful bow. That's odd, Belle thought. Wouldn't his hands be on his face make better hands? At least philosophically. I am Cogsworth, head of the household. He put his little golden hand out to hers, drawing it up for a polite kiss. The candelabrum was suddenly between them. He had 3 arms. Apparently, the middle one was both his head and his body. The other 2 were arms, hands. This is Lumiere, the clock said with a disgruntled sniff. Enchanté, ma chérie, Lumiere said, kissing the back of her wrist. Her skin felt hot for a moment, like an ember from a fire had popped and landed on her, but it wasn't unpleasant. The candelabrum turned as if to throw a look of triumph back at the clock, but Cogsworth obviously thought it was too much and tried to shove Lumiere out of the way. The candelabrum responded by just touching the clock's wood edging with one flame hand. Ouch! Well, Cogsworth shrieked against his will. Belle wasn't sure whether to laugh or pity them. Were they grown-ups? Were they children? Were they something else entirely? The little clock recovered himself and, with slightly bruised dignity, swished his minute and hour hands like they were his mustache, and he was resetting. If there's anything we can do to make your stay more comfortable, extra pillows, maybe a pair of slippers. Well, Belle said, I am a little hungry, actually. Do you hear that, dears? The teapot said excitedly to the rest of the room. She's hungry. Stoke the fire. Break out the silverware. Wake the china. Belle looked up at the sudden noises in the rest of the room, a little alarmed. Almost everything was fluttering and shuffling. The china was indeed waking from whatever slumber it enjoyed. Dishes were very carefully shuddering themselves to life. Teacups were bouncing and trying to get out of their glass cabinet prison. The stove, which seemed to be cheerful and warm and fiery at the end of the room, now began to yawn and stretch its great black iron arms and exhaust pipe. Belle drew into herself a little, alarmed. Stories of witches and their fires and stoves and terrible, terrible endings played out in her head. Baba Yaga, Hansel and Gretel. Remember what the master said, Cogsworth reminded them sternly. Oh, pish-tosh, Mrs. Potts said back. I'm not going to let the poor child go hungry. If you absolutely must, then, glass of water, crust of bread, and then, Cogsworth, I'm surprised at you, Lumiere said, chastising. She's not our prisoner. She's our guest. We must make her feel welcome here. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I am, a prisoner, Belle said wryly, but she was distracted by the commotion around her. Pots were shifting themselves on the hob, cracking their lids to let out steam. The whole stove seemed to be holding its breath and forcing it back down into its oven. Suddenly the fire expanded and grew more orange. The stove began muttering disgustedly to itself, something about preparing a feast and then being forced to abandon it and having everything cool off. Silverware was marching like little soldiers down the long length of the table towards Belle. Pieces of china were shoving each other precariously out of the way, vying to be in the single place setting in front of her. Little pots of mustard and chutney and other condiments hopped one after another off the shelves lining the room, landing surprisingly intact on silver trays. Too many things were moving around the room, things that shouldn't have been moving at all. It was dizzying and more than a little ominous. Really, this isn't necessary, Belle said, getting a little bolt. A fresh boulet, the cracks in its crust emanating amazing smelling steam, was carried to her by a spidery basket with alarming silver legs. No, 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 ma chérie, Lumiere said, gesturing for her to sit. The back of her own legs were wonked out from under her, and she fell into a not uncomfortable chair. It was still spooky and unnerving. The scents from all the different dishes were making her head spin. In fairy worlds, you weren't supposed to eat the food, or you would be trapped there forever. But then again, what fairies offered you pate? Our master, he's a little ungentile, the little candelabrum said tactfully, and he has been alone for so long, his manners may have grown a little rusty. He truly wished you could share this feast with him. He threw my father, my harmless old father, into a prison cell and then exchanged me for him. That's not bad manners. That's behaving like a pirate, Belle pointed out. Also, the claws, the fangs. Try the Jaugiers, Lumiere interrupted, popping one into her mouth before she could continue. It was warmed by his flame and melted on her tongue. Nothing at all like the perfectly good but usually rock hard ones she and her father baked. Oh, she couldn't help saying. It's been so long since we've had a guest. Miss Potts danced around the table, happily, somehow managing to fold a napkin with her spout nose. She tossed it into Belle's lap. The swan shape had gracefully unfolded as it fell, almost like it was flying. Belle shrank back, worried it was actually going to fly. I can't imagine why, she muttered, and then she was distracted by the food. Piles of it, more than a feast, a banquet. There was a whole leg of lamb, multiple tyrans of souffles, 3 soup courses, a delicate fish and white wine broth, an orange ice in between to clear the palate. There was a water glass, a golden glass of red wine, a crystal one of white, and a saucer of consomme. There were 7 forks of descending size and different number of tines. The last 3 whose use she couldn't even begin to work out. This was what Beast was planning to have for dinner with her. As what? An apology for keeping her prisoner? For the way he had treated her father? Maybe the little accessories were right. Maybe he just didn't know how to act nicely. No. Belle shook her head. She had read about this. The victims of kidnapping often wound up sympathizing with the perpetrator. It was a sickness, a very scientifically predictable one. This was the 18th century, the age of reason, and a man beast had thrown her father into prison for simply trespassing. This wasn't just about a failure to be polite. This was about breaking the laws of France. Even if the little magical castle was hidden far from the worlds of Paris and Versailles. But the broth was nearly clear and colorless, singing with notes of the sea, and Belle had never actually been to the sea. When she broke her bread to dip, the crust scattered, the crumb inside moist to the point of almost being a custard. The Turin was so rich she managed only one tiny demitalis spoonful. She and her father didn't eat fancily, but they ate well enough to even have had meat once or twice a week. The herbs that still flourished in her mother's garden spiced up dishes more than it seemed like they should have. They supped well, like all Frenchmen and women. But even Christmas was nothing compared to this. Belle suddenly realized she was shoveling it all in like a character from one of those stories who's tricked into eating magic food until he exploded or grew too large to escape. With a slightly more down to earth part of her spoke up warmingly, and what she liked to pretend was her mother's voice. You are, at the very least, going to have an extremely upset stomach from this rich new food. You really have made this all for me, she said, pausing to wipe her mouth. Of course, dear, the teapot said glowingly. You're our first guest in ages. Years of bouncing around this dusty castle with nothing to do and no one to serve. No one but your master. He doesn't have very refined tastes or desires, the candelabrum said tactfully, admiring the flame on his own hands. He didn't really put us to work, as it were. He doesn't even sleep in a proper bed, Miss Potts said severely. Just curls up like a kitten wherever it's safe and warm. Cogsworth shook Cogsworth shook her a look. Even with numbers instead of eyes, it was easy to tell he didn't approve of this sort of gossip about their employer. But he didn't disagree either. Are there no human servants here at all? Why, Cogsworth asked, a little offended. Do you require one? We do everything ourselves, Mrs. Potts explained gently. The dusters take a bit of prompting, and getting the mops to do the job properly requires some direct supervision on my part. But on the whole, yes, we take care of the castle ourselves. Not that there's much to take care of, for at least the least. 10 years, Belle suggested innocently. Yes, 10 years, the teapot continued, lost in her memories, unaware of the desperate handshakes and looks the other two were giving her. Why, 10 years, Belle asked. What happened 10 years ago? The three little creatures looked at each other warily. Well, let's just say that's how long it's been since we've been graced with a visitor, Cogsworth said. You're not going to tell me, she said with a sigh. Lumiere seemed to be on the brink of saying something. It's quite late, Cogsworth interrupted, stretching strangely as if to look at his own face. Time enough for stories another night. Off to bed now, eh? Oh, I couldn't possibly go to bed now, Belle drawled teasingly. The food had settled warmly in her stomach, and the rich wine, too. It was hard to be afraid of anything with a full tummy and adequate rest. And how much of a threat could these three adorable talking objects be? This was delicious, thank you. But I think I'd like to take a look around the castle, where I will be imprisoned for the rest of my life now. Oh, forever is just a word, Lumiere said philosophically, whirling one of his flame hands around. To a candle burning at both ends, forever is an hour. But if you want a tour, mi chérie, we'll be glad to assist. I don't know if that's such a good idea, Cogsworth said quickly. We wouldn't want her poking around certain places. Oh, but couldn't take me? Belle asked, ticking Cogsworth under his dial. He giggled like a very pleased toddler. I'll bet you know everything about the castle. Well, I do, of course. I do. Yes, of course. He spluttered. I'd be delighted to impart some of my knowledge. No harm in that. Right this way. The little clock hopped off the table and began to waddle out of the room down the hall. The kitchen, he began, is of course, like most castles, the oldest part of the main building still remaining. We have found markings on the walls near the back indicating it might even date back to Roman days. Lumiere cocked his middle candle, his head at Belle. Well, you certainly turned him upside down in a moment, Miss Sherry, he said with appreciation. There is a lot more to you than it would appear. Don't judge a book by its cover, she retorted, following the clock out. Lumiere barked out laughter, and sparks sprayed harmlessly to the stone floor.
Flight. Maurice packed up the cart with all of their worldly belongings and harnessed their newly acquired foal to pull it. With a final tearful goodbye to the little apartment on its bustling street, he and his wife and their baby began the journey to their new home. They had taken Levi's I'm going to call him Levi, but that's not how you pronounce it. They had taken Levi's advice and decided to move to the pleasant, if dull, little village where the bookseller himself now lived, trading friends and excitement for a safe country life of chickens and weather and farmers as neighbors, and very little magic. Belle would grow up in a place without witches and enchanted crystals, but also without the violence and dangers of the tumultuous kingdom. It was tricky driving their fully loaded cart through the busy streets at first. Besides the usual traffic, people often just stopped and stared. Rosalind had a kind of fame. Seeing her leave gave some people pause and others a triumphant grin. Approaching the border where the road began to rise out of the forest, things grew quiet. But at that border, guards blocked their way. "What is this?" Maurice demanded, pretending ignorance. "Quarantine. No one is to leave or enter the kingdom without royal permission until the fever has passed," one answered, not a hint of kindness in his voice. Excuse me. His black eyes flicked over Maurice and Rosalind and the baby and even the horse. Rosalind ground her teeth. She clutched her alder wand under her cloak, but there were at least 10 soldiers. "We bought a nice little farmhouse on the other side of the river," Maurice said amiably, "for our growing family. Our plan was to escape from the plague. All of us are well. You can see that." "Escape from the plague," the guard said nastily, putting a finger to his chin as if in thought. "How convenient. The sickness that rose up just as we began getting a handle on the situation of Les Charmantes, and now you flee." "We have a baby," Maurice said, indicating Belle. "Of course we're fleeing. It's not safe." "Are you sure it's the plague you're fleeing precisely? How many naturals did your wife kill or ensorcel the night of the riots?" "I did no such thing," Rosalind said, trying to keep her voice down. "I wasn't even in town when the flight over the girl happened. I was deep in the woods picking mushrooms." 2 other guards closed in around behind the cart. Maurice began to reach inside his belt for his knife, Rosalind her wand. A 4th guard spoke up almost impatiently. "Are you not Rosalind, the one who keeps the garden of magic roses in the park?" Rosalind looked at her husband. Was this it? Was this where they took her but let her husband and baby go free? Was this the end? There was no point in lying either way. "I am," she said. The young man regarded her for a moment. His eyes were unreadable, but unlike his partners, they were thoughtful. "My mother had a cough. It wasn't consumption, but she couldn't breathe properly, and sometimes blood came out. You gave her roses each fortnight for 2 months. She put them in a vase and breathed in their perfume. It cured her completely." "Madame Gerenbeck," Rosalind said, remembering. "Her lungs were ailing. She loved my simple pink beach roses best because she had never been to the sea. But the one that cured her were yellow. I brought her both." "Alan," the 1st guard hissed, seeing that where this was going. "Who cares? We have orders. No one in or out, and she is a Charmante. She just admitted it." Alan waved his hand without looking at his partner, as if he were no more than a fly. "Move along," he told the family. "Leave, and if you take my advice, never come back." Maurice let out a breath and didn't even realize he was holding the buzzing in his ears so loud he forgot his manners and didn't wish them a good day. Rosalind squeezed her baby tightly. "Magic always comes back on itself," Rosalind whispered. "And also kindness," Maurice pointed out. So the little family rolled quietly out of the forest and into their new life. Belle sat on her mother's lap, reaching for the tiny white moths that fluttered at the periphery of light and dark where the sun just began to meet the forest floor. Hours passed in contemplative silence for all 3 of them. Excuse me. Maurice felt some of the weight he had been bearing lift away as they crossed the bridge over the river and into the little village. They were running away, yes, but it was to a new beginning. Their house was a nice, sunny little place on the outskirts of town where the fumes and noises from his inventions wouldn't bother anyone, and the occasional showy spell wouldn't be seen. Rosalind would, for now at least, doff the role of enchantress and confine most of her magic to plants and research until the world was safe again. The first moonless night they spent there was she paced out in a new garden and circled it 3 times, Widdershins chanting. She also planted the magic acorn and ancient pebble, singing to them as she did. Maurice held the baby in his lap and had her look on, wondering if his daughter would pick up some of the magic, despite the fact that, as Frederic had accurately deduced, she was not a Charmante. The next day, under the full sun, where everyone could see, Rosalind began planting normal things, roses, herbs, and even more roses. Maurice rigged up a wheel in the nearby stream to pump water into the house and the new garden. He mounted a small windmill to the top of the roof and ran belts to various things in the kitchen, the roasting spit and the mechanical spoon over the stove, for instance, to ease their household tasks now that the magic had to be hidden. The little family went into the village proper as often as they could to visit their old friend, Monsieur Levi. He loved his little goddaughter, Belle, and played with her and made her laugh and gave her all sorts of treats, books and pretty mirrors and tiny kaleidoscopes. But Maurice and Rosalind tended to restrict their visits to market days when there was so much else going on they wouldn't attract much notice. When gossip about everyone flowed as freely as the cider. Alaric was one of the few friends from their old life who ever visited, trying one of the horses out as an excuse to make the half-day journey to the village over the river, breaking the quarantine with the king's permission. Whenever he came, it was a happy time for all. Maurice and Rosalind stuffed him with wine and cheese and pulled their chairs close to hear news about the kingdom they had exiled themselves from. It was mostly bleak tidings, however. Fever had established a firm grip in the poorer sections of town, and those few who could have done something about it, les Charmantes, witches, and the like, were missing. But the stable master had also wed his merry housekeeper, and that was cause for some joy. He showed the little family a miniature he kept of her in his pocket, next to his journal, and swore they would all celebrate together properly one day. And then one day, Alaric showed up at night, long after Belle had been put to bed. There was a rider behind him on a horse, a small, terrified-looking woman thing, with eyes that were all black, even the whites, and long folded-over green ears that spoke of goblin lineage. Ah, Alaric said uneasily to Maurice and Rosalind, who came to the door in their dressing gowns. 1,000 pardons for the interruption of your evening. I was wondering, maybe you could give my friend here a night's stay, and maybe a loaf of bread to start her on her way in the morning. Of course, Rosalind said, glancing uneasily over to her daughter's room to make sure she was asleep. Any friend of yours is a friend of ours. But why, Maurice asked, oblivious as always to the finer nuances of emotion in the air. His old friend's barely concealed nervousness, the obviousness of deep night outside, the hastily thrown on the aspect of the woman's clothes. It looked like she wore everything she owned all at once. What's wrong? They come for me, the woman rasped in the hissing, guttural tone of a goblin. Thona saw them, a pair of men, all in black, with masks and whatnot, coming for me in silence like the dead. Alaric nodded grimly. I found her hiding with a rat, Thona, in my stables. It seems as if whoever is targeting Les Charmantes is getting sneakier, just clubbing them over the heads or whatever and dragging them off in the middle of the night, and no one's finding the bodies. Like ghosts they are, and God knows what happens to them that gets taken, the woman said, shivering. Alaric gave her a pitying look. She had to get out. It wasn't safe for her to stay, and with the quarantine, no one can leave now, legally. So, oh my goodness, you poor thing, Rosalind said with a sad shake of her head. Why don't you go inside, wash your hands and face? We'll get you a blanket and some hot tea in a moment. The woman pushed past them into the warmth without a thank you. That was not the goblin way. But then turned her and looked back for one piteous moment, her black eyes wide and begging as if the host could do something. I've lived there all my life. I sold swamp herbs, good, honest swamp herbs, wild begonia for colds, and moss for packing into wounds. I never did black magic or poison arts. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows old Jenny. Then she hobbled in the door, coughing back tears, crying, which was the human way. Oh, man. The extremely fascinating tour of a historically and architecturally important landmark castle. It's a title. And then the problem was obviously that the main keep had grown too organically from its medieval origins and so the symmetry needed for a true Baroque makeover was impossible. I speak, of course, of the high middle gate and flanking annexes you see elsewhere, as in Mansart's Chateau des Maisons. Lumiere was hopping ahead to light the way, obviously bored by the direction the tour was taking. Belle was interested. She had read all about Mansart and dreamed of seeing his palaces in Versailles. But Cogsworth's stories were often strangely banal. Here was a talking clock, for heaven's sake, and everything he was telling her seemed straight out of a normal history book. There was nothing about evil wizards, angry gods, or why the castle was the way it was, enchanted and forgotten. All of these weapons and armor don't seem to be very Baroque, she interrupted gently, waving her hand at a pair of crossed battle axes on the wall. The hall they were in definitely had a medieval slant. Tarnished suits of armor lined each side, and she was pretty sure she heard them squeaking despite their apparent stillness. Ah, yes. Well, you can never entirely strip the Gothic influence from the French, Cogsworth said proudly. We're not ashamed of our heritage. Belle pretended to ignore the suits of armor as she passed, which were now quite obviously turning to watch her. She felt less threatened by their martial stance than unnerved by their attention. It was like the first market day she had developed a figure. That was the moment the tone of the villagers' gossip about her had changed. From look at that strange little child to what a waste looks like that are on one like her. As you were, Cogsworth snapped at the armor, seeing her distress. Immediately, with dozens of identical clacks, the suits resumed their original watchful positions. They entered a wide foyer, but walked right by a grand marble staircase that was an exact duplicate of the one that led to the wing where Belle's room was. What's up there? She asked. Oh, nothing important, Lumiere said quickly. Nothing to interest Mademoiselle. And all the stairs. Aha. Oh, stairs. My goodness. So tiring for a delicate girl like me. So if there's nothing there, then it doesn't matter if we go see it or not, she said, turning to go up. No, Cogsworth stuttered, running forward. The West Wing is utterly boring. Nothing up there to interest you. Lumiere whacked his friend with the brass end of one of his hands. So, Belle said, hesitating a moment with relish, this is the forbidden West Wing. What he meant was, we have so many other places to go first, Lumiere amended quickly. The gardens, for instance. Too cold, Belle said, continuing to move forward. The armory, Cogsworth said hopefully. The orangery. Too spooky, too late, Belle said, not turning back. What about the library? Belle whirled around. Somehow Lumiere managed a look of pleased satisfaction in his flames. Library, she asked slowly. Oh, yes, the master has so many books, the little candelabrum drawled. Yes, Cogsworth said, leaping forward to stand next to his friend. So close, Belle saw distractedly, she was surprised he didn't catch fire. Rooms and rooms of them. Really? She asked despite herself. Rooms of books? When other children dreamed of mansions with fountains and big silky beds and servants to do their bidding, this was what Belle dreamed about. The money to buy all the books she ever wanted from all over the world, and a place to keep them. Yes, come, Cogsworth said. You can spend the whole night there if you want. Biographies, histories, 12 different translations of the Bible, romantic adventures. It was tempting, but the library would be there tomorrow. She had forever, right? These little guys were trying to hide something, just like they tried to hide whatever had happened 10 years ago. She just knew all the answers she sought would be revealed upstairs, including why I had never heard of this castle and kingdom, and who is the beast? How did he come to rule all these inanimate objects? Where are all the actual people who should be living here? On what grounds is it considered acceptable to throw a harmless old man and his daughter into a prison? And why did no one want her to going into the West Wing? She started climbing the stairs again. Lumiere looked stricken. Please don't go, the master asked. I only gave him my word to stay, nothing else, Belle repeated firmly. Nothing would stop her from satisfying her curiosity about the most interesting thing that had ever happened to her. Death and a curse. In the sleepy little village, Maurice kept improving his inventions, and Rosalind refined her bespelled roses. All the while, both were learning to properly feed and butcher their chickens, milk the goats, tend the bees, and other new and unfamiliar chores of country life. Belle grew reading voraciously, running around barefoot, watching the clouds and dreaming of a life beyond the fields and the plants. The days so similar, they all seemed rolled into one. Meanwhile, in their old kingdom, the fever redoubled its strength and began to spread faster, just like the plague had in horrible days long before. It utterly destroyed the population. Young or old, rich or poor, man or woman, it didn't matter. People were dying like rats in the town below, while the king and queen hid themselves in their high castle and barricaded their doors against potential contagion. No one was allowed in or out, including the servants, and therefore Alaric. But the village was where Rosalind and Maurice and Belle lived seemed strangely unaffected by the disease rampaging around them. Perhaps it was because of the other towns' closed borders and quarantine. Or perhaps it was because of Rosalind's wards, or a certain quick-growing oak tree, or the special broth made by another relocated good witch. Whatever the reason, not a single person west of the river was affected, nor were there other villages that received the fleeing Charmante. And then, late one dire, rainy night, long after Belle was put to bed, a third time after trying to read under her covers with a jar of fireflies, there was a knock at the door. Rosalind and Maurice looked at each other once and leapt up, expecting to see their dear old friend again. Instead, an unknown person stood hunched over in the cold, a pale and milky moon, making his tired eyes seem even more sunken. You are to come to the castle. At once, the king and queen would see you. We are no longer citizens of that fair kingdom, Rosalind said with a barely contained snarl. We do not need to obey any demands or requests of the rulers there. They hold my allegiances no longer. Maurice put his hands lightly on her shoulders. Curiosity always stronger in him than outrage. What do they want? The man sighed. The disease which ravages the countryside is now inside the castle walls, killing royalty and servants alike. I don't, but Rosalind trailed off, whatever she was going to say. Her anger deflated in the face of needless death and the worry in the messenger's eyes. Perhaps he too had a loved one who was sick. Rosalind looked back at Maurice. You should go, he urged. People are in trouble, and you can see Alaric once you're inside the castle. That would be good. All right, my husband is a kinder man than I. Rosalind was suddenly swirling a warm gray cloak around her neck. But I shall make my own way there, just as you must make yours wherever you would go now. And she disappeared into the night. Maurice was left somewhat awkwardly with the exhausted messenger. Can't have you in, he said unapologetically, plague and all. I could get you a cup of tea, which you could take with you as a souvenir. The castle was very different from the last time Rosalind had been there. Lights were dim and servants kept to the shadows. The deep chanting of priests echoed in the corridors. There was so much incense clouding the air she almost couldn't breathe. The king and queen were on their thrones looking tired. The boy prince was nowhere to be seen. Enchantress, the queen said, her voice a little scratchy, but otherwise as firm as ever, you are forgiven for the high crime of breaking quarantine. In return, we would ask you use what powers you possess to secure the safety and health of our royal selves and the castle. Rosalind blinked. What? She asked, for once in her life at a loss for words. The queen stated it quite clearly. The king snapped. We have, out of the graciousness of our hearts, cleared you of illegally crossing the border to fly like a coward from our kingdom in distress. In gratitude, perhaps, you will fix this. He waved a hand vaguely around the room, trailing a handkerchief that no longer smelled of perfume and flowers, but of salts and bitter medicines in hopes of warding off the plague. I am not a criminal, Rosalind stated as calmly as she could. I fled this nightmare of a place and live in a new one now, where no one smears insults on my door and my neighbors don't just disappear without investigation because of their background. You can forgive me of imaginary crimes or not, as you like. I have no desire to come back here ever again, and your words are meaningless. Go fetch yourself a doctor and be done with it. The doctors who remain have been unable to effect any cure or treatment, the king added, choosing his words carefully. Frederic is apparently a gifted surgeon, but a terrible healer. All who could have helped you have disappeared or been forced into exile, Rosalind hissed. If one were more religious-minded and would think God had broken this down on you to punish you for your sins. I am a king, the king said, his arrogance returning. God alone may judge me. The queen waved her hand at him. If you must blame us, do so, but help us. We beg you to save what is left of us, what is left of the castle. Never, Rosalind spat. The last free country of Les Charmantes is gone because of the atrocities perpetuated while you looked on without so much as lifting a finger. I will never help you. The room was silent. though because all within it were stunned or just weary, it was hard to tell. We ordered you here for a spell, not a lecture, the king finally said with a sniff. Do not try to debate morality with us, you base creature. Rosalind spun around and began to walk out. Wait, the queen leapt up. My son, I have a son. You have a daughter. I don't care what happens to the rest of the kingdom. I don't care what happens to us. But please, he is truly innocent of anything we've ever done. Rosalind spun back. Innocent? My daughter was a risk in your kingdom because her mother is one of Les Charmantes, and you think your son should be safe because you were a queen? Please, was all the queen said. Her eyes lowered. The king looked away and said nothing. I shall consider it, Rosalind said coldly. While I am here, considering it, I wish to see your stable master. He is an old friend of my husband's. Who? The king asked, sounding utterly uninterested. Your stable master, Alaric Potts. Oh. Mrs. Potts' husband.
Oh.
That's the first time we've heard his name.
Yeah.
Alaric Potts. We haven't seen him since you barricaded your gates and hid yourself in the castle with your trusted servants, forbidding them to leave. Oh, the horse fellow. He's gone, the king said, rolling his eyes. Disappeared. Just up and left when things grew tough, I assume. Ran away from his family and the quarantine. If he's dead, it isn't of the plague. They haven't found his body, the queen added. I almost hope he is dead. The prince has been utterly inconsolable without his daily ride. All he does is cry about his horse. Servants never consider the consequences of their actions, how it affects others. Alaric Potts would never just run away. Oops. There it is. A wind of rage and agony built inside of Rosalind, threatening to tear her and everything in the room apart. Instead, the enchantress let it take her and carry her home. Weeping and exhausted, she related all that had happened to Maurice while he held her. When she had no more to say, Rosalind straightened up and jerkily made the motions that cleared the house of pestilence. Then she went over to Belle's doorway and made additional signs that hung green a moment in the air before trailing to the floor like vines. Safe. Maurice clapped her sadly on the shoulder. I understand your decision not to help them, especially after hearing about Alaric, he said quietly, but overall, I'm not sure that was the kindest thing to do. They didn't protect my people, their subjects. There are repercussions for actions. Magic comes back to you just as the actions of people do. The bigger the person, the more their actions affect the world. If they live, perhaps they will learn that. And if everyone dies, no one learns anything, he pointed out gently. Rosalind remained silent, but her fingers started working. Deep in the castle in the woods, silver sparkles fell over those ignorant of the doings of enchantress and inventors. The prince is safe, her husband asked. Rosalind nodded, as are the servants and their children. The couple was silent for a moment. If something were to happen to me, Rosalind began slowly. Nothing's going to happen to you, my dear, Maurice said, giving her a kiss. You can't get the fever. But if it were something else, anything else, she said, thinking, I would want Belle to be safe. I would want my people to be safe. I don't know how you could do that, Maurice said with a sigh. You're the most powerful sorceress left in the world, but even you can't protect everyone. I would make everyone else forget, she said slowly, thinking, forget about me and Les Charmantes. We would become nothing but fairy tales and hide forever from the eyes of men. That seems sad, but pragmatic, Maurice said, putting his arms around her waist. Just don't include me in the spell. I don't care what happens to me. I never want to forget you. Rosalind smiled and kissed him, but didn't answer. Now we start all the little chapters. I got one, and then you got several, I think. Okay. Cogsworth and Lumiere frittered at the end of the stairs, debating nervously about going up after her. Belle left them behind. This part of the castle was different. If every other room seemed a little musty, cool, dark, and abandoned, the west wing felt like a cave, also moist, as if a window had been left open despite the early winter weather. Strange, if not strictly unpleasant, barn-like smells assaulted her nose, vaguely reminiscent of animals. Belle realized she was holding her breath. What must have once been a truly spectacular mirror framed in gold took up the entire far wall at the top of the stairs. Its silvered perfection had been destroyed long ago. Shards of deadly glass stuck out like teeth in the otherwise empty frame and littered the floor. There wasn't a single piece remaining that was as large as Belle's hand. But all of them, every single one, from the finger-sized remainders to the tiniest gem-like droplet, reflected her face and the pale, worried look she hadn't even known. She swore. Something was building in the back of her head, thrumming and pulsing. Fear or panic or excitement that she was about to learn something important. It was obvious she was on the right track. Next to the mirror was a pair of monstrous wooden doors. Their bronze handles were in the form of strangely familiar demons. Belle was reluctant to place her hands over their uncomfortable and jagged forms, but she did. A sudden gust of wind caught the doors and slammed them all the way open. Belle fell through, tumbling helplessly into the room. At first, she thought she had found a bizarrely cluttered attic. Furniture was scattered around like a drunken giant had come through, smashing his way to the window. Hard chairs were knocked down and broken. Soft ones were strangely unharmed, but pushed together in unusual clusters. Rugs were bunched back up over themselves like something had tried to burrow beneath them. The floors beneath were scored with silver scratch marks, 4 in a line like a giant claw. Streaks of dust striped tapestries that hung torn and off-kilter from splintered rods. Scattered here and there were eerily white objects, bones picked clean. This Belle knew without even thinking, the lair of the beast. A handsome 4-poster bed was the only thing in the room that seemed untouched, unused. It was sized for a young child. The rosewood poles would have been like a cage for someone like a beast, a 10-year-old maybe. 10 years. Everything had begun to happen 10 years ago. Belle's heart started to race. Had the beast invaded this castle, consumed everyone alive in it, and taken the prince's room for his own? She jumped when another gust of wind caused the shredded curtains to suddenly whip out like angry ghosts. As clouds scuttled away from the moon outside, everything was illuminated in pale white light. Besides the general disarray, there were more violent signs of destruction now made obvious. Some of the chairs were deliberately smashed. A desk lay in pieces in a corner. Side tables were torn apart. Their marble tops cracked like ice. Belle swallowed. Were all of these things once animated like the teapot and the clock? Had they been lively and talkative, moving and adorable, but now were stilled in the strange death? How did it happen? How had it happened? Was there some sort of war to protect the castle? Were these soldiers somehow killed in battle? Or were they just victims of the beast's rage? Belle bit her lip and pushed farther into the room, despite every instinct telling her to run away. But she would get no answers by remaining at the edges. And there was something comforting about the moonlight streaming in from the window. Belle made her way to the far wall, hoping for a gulp of fresh air. She tiptoed around moldering piles of clothes that lay undisturbed by mice. She tried not to shudder at a broken down wardrobe, a smaller version of the one who had spoken to her. This one lay silent and covered in cobwebs, its doors pulled off, its hinges and drawers askew. Past that was a portrait, almost as large as the mirror in the hallway, and almost as destroyed. Great shreds of canvas and peeling oil paint hung from its elaborate frame. 4 very deliberate claws had done this. Belle reached forward without thinking and tried to reposition the 2 largest remaining pieces like a puzzle to see what the subject was. It seemed to be a young man with piercing blue eyes and what looked like royal clothes. Belle frowned. He was too old to be the last occupant of the child-sized bed in the room, but also too young to be the boy's father. Who was it? Mystery upon mystery. Something sparkled out of the corner of her eye. There, farther into the room, in the front of the window she was trying to reach, was a little white stone-topped table, completely free from the destruction that had torn apart everything else. On it sat 2 things glittering in the moonlight. One was a pretty silver hand mirror. The other was a red rose under a bell jar.
Endgame.
Right. Endgame. Ooh, good movie.
Despite their walls and doctors and priests and incense and wealth, the king and queen took ill and died. Their son, by some twist of fate, was spared, as were all the children in the castle. Some called it a miracle. A year passed. The fever ran itself out, though not before taking a staggering percentage of the townspeople with it. The time of mourning finally ended, and a coronation date was set. There would be a new king and hopefully a new beginning for the beleaguered little kingdom. Meanwhile, in the village, Rosalind was trying to make a dress for Belle. Sewing was not one of her talents. Her fingers were covered with little ruby red pricks of blood, and she said many enchantress like things as she went. But Belle's birthday was coming up, and as happened occasionally, Rosalind felt a need to do some sort of normal motherly thing for it. Maurice had suggested several times that they have a dress tailored for her for their daughter instead. His automated thresher had won some money at the fair, and for once they had coin to spare for little luxuries, but Rosalind stubbornly refused. And so she cursed and sewed in the lantern light, cleverly magnified by a system of mirrors and lenses, as a storm blew outside and she wrestled with something that was plaguing her subconscious. Maurice caught her eyes flickering to the window. Not to the storm, he knew, but to what lay east of them. Why do you care about the coronation? He finally said with a sigh. Our life there is over. You told them you would never be coming back. Rosalind bit her lip. If there's any chance at all of saving the kingdom, of making it the way it used to be, it all rests with the prince. He has a hard road ahead of him, Maurice said sympathetically, and few people left to help. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he just gave it all up and went to university instead. German princes do that all the time. Rosalind threw down what she was working on. I need to go see him, now, before he is made king. Dear, Maurice began, I need to make sure he's not like his parents, she said firmly. If that land is to have any future, it needs to have a ruler who is kind and generous and forward-thinking and enigmatic, energetic and kind. You said kind already. I have to go, she said, grabbing her green cloak. Maurice didn't even protest about the weather. Enchantress had a way of dealing with those sorts of things. You've managed to go and escape twice already, he said. Remember what Frederick said. I'll go in disguise, she promised, giving him a quick kiss. Maurice grabbed her hands and pressed them into his heart. Darling, she said with a patient smile, I'll go and come back before Belle wakes up. She won't even know I was gone, and we'll all celebrate her birthday together. Then she hesitated over a pitcher of roses on the table, debating silently. Finally, she selected a glorious red blossom that surpassed perfection, but was merely average for that household. Her husband gave her a knowing look. Magic always comes back on itself, he reminded her. What? I know that. Who said anything about magic? She demanded. And then she disappeared. Because she didn't take the normal road, she never saw the black carriage with the thick windows that was also making its way to the castle.
Dun, dun, dun. You got the next one, too.
Curiosity killed the beast. The rose under the bell jar wasn't in water, nor was it dried. It seemed to just be floating there under the glass, glistening in light of the moonlight. Entranced, Belle drew closer. She had never seen anything like it before. Were there magnets? Lodestones? How was this trick accomplished? And even stranger, there was something familiar about the rose. Something about the color of its petals, like she had seen it somewhere before. The mirror lay ignored on the table. She reached out her hand and carefully lifted the glass cloche up by its top. The rose did not fall as she expected, nor were there invisible strings or wires connecting it to the glass. Still, it floated, glistening and twirling slowly above a small pile of petals that had already fallen. Belle reached her finger out to touch it. No! Where there had been silence a moment earlier, now there was a rumble and roar, sudden and terrifying. The beast rushed at her upon all fours, but Belle couldn't quite focus on him. She had to know how the trick worked. She grabbed the rose.
That's not nice.
Yeah. What Belle saw. Once upon a time, there was a dying magical kingdom hidden deep in the forest. Inside its once shining castle lived a young prince who had everything anyone in the world could want. But despite this, he was selfish, spoiled, and unkind. Then, on the night before he was to be made king, an old beggar woman came to the castle and offered him a single blood-red rose in return for shelter from the bitter cold. Repulsed by her haggard appearance, the prince sneered at the gift and turned the old woman away, although she warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for true beauty is found within. When the prince again dismissed her, there was a loud clap of thunder, and the old crone disappeared. Standing in her place was a beautiful woman with hair as gold as the prince's mother's necklace, wearing a beautiful dress, all shades of the sea. She still held the rose in her hand. In the other, where she had clutched her cane, was a wand of white elderwood. She was as brilliant as the sun, as terrible as an avenging angel. My lady, the prince stammered, falling to one knee. Forgive me. But it was too late, for she had seen into his soul and knew what sort of a person he truly was. As punishment, she transformed him into a hideous beast and placed a powerful spell on the curse and those who lived there. There is no love in your heart at all, Prince, just like your parents who utterly destroyed this kingdom with their selfishness and cruelty. You have until the eve of your 21st birthday to become as beautiful on the inside as you were on the outside. If you do not learn to love another and be loved in return, by the time the last petal of this rose falls, you, your king, your castle, and all within will be cursed and forgotten forever. Ashamed of his monstrous form, the beast concealed himself inside the castle, with a magic mirror as his only window to the outside world. As the years passed, he fell into despair and lost all hope, for who could ever learn to love a beast? I feel like I read that already once.
Sounded like it.
A curse descends. Belle stumbled in confusion, as clear as if it were occurring right there behind her eyes. She saw the truth. The prince who was the beast, the spell, the rose, the enchantress, her mother. The rose was from her garden. That was why it had looked familiar. Belle held the blossom before her face in wonder. Her mother had held it exactly 10 years before, the same way. But under her look and in the light of the moon, the rose began to fall apart. The petals fell and shifted into glittering red sand that disappeared before it hit the ground. The stem dissolved inch by inch until there was nothing left, and the beast howled in despair.
Oh,
There's your twist, boys and girls.
something like that.
Yep.
So, this one's much better than the last one.
Yes.
I like how the two stories are following each other. So you have the story we know, keeping it familiar, and then every other chapter flashes back to the story of how we got there. Started being able to foreshadow what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it wraps up part one with the fact that what we thought was going to happen happens. Now, where does it go from here is going to be the question.
That's the question. So that's part one of a 3-part book.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we have part one, part two, and part three. And the last one, I don't know why we had the, what was it called? The interludes.
Interludes.
We literally had like a 6-line interlude that made no sense whatsoever in the book. But now we're here.
I really like the back and forth of this one. Now, I don't know that the back and forth is going to continue beyond this point.
Should not continue beyond this point.
Because now that we've reached the twist, I would think it would just go straight from
we have our backstory, we have what we know, and now they've culminated to be on the same timeline now.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
That is the question.
Of course, now, if you remember back in the very beginning, Steve, there was a crazy woman. Monroe Molly, hello. Good to see you, Molly.
Monroe Molly's not a crazy woman.
No, there was a crazy woman that they had locked in the dungeon.
There was.
And I'm wondering if we're going to tie that back and find out that is the Enchantress.
I also think that it was, the Enchantress is Rosalind.
Yes.
So, but the key, I like how they, Alaric Potts, that's the first time they announced his last name. So his wife were both servants in the castle. We don't know where he is, but obviously his wife is Mrs. Potts.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
And their little boy Chip.
Yep. So anyhow,
there you go.
I like this book a lot more.
I do.
Liz has redeemed herself so far.
There's
still a lot of time to muck it all up, but hopefully she can. She doesn't do that.
Jeff.
Hello, sir.
Jeff, now that we finished reading, I'll send you the link.
I saw
Jerf
Jerf
that tab open. Sorry?
I saw Jerf last night.
You did?
Yeah,
we watched him dance.
We did watch him dance.
Tanya showed him dancing again today on her stream.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Were you out? Was he out there again?
No, she videoed him last night, and she showed the video on her stream today of Jeff dancing.
She was videoing him last night.
Oh, yep. Yep. There you go, Jerf. Boy Child's back.
Hello again, Boy Child.
He's hiding in the background.
Were you watching the stream and then saw we had done, so you came out? That's so nice.
Were you watching the stream and then saw we were ending up?
I was not watching.
No, he wasn't. He's not subscribed.
I am subscribed.
Wow.
I've said this before, but since you bring it up, I've got to flex this card again. The girl child and I were the very first 2 subscribers to this channel.
Well, that was to his face, though.
Yeah.
Now that he's got subscribers, you can leave and.
I also have the notification bell turned on.
Whoa.
Really?
I do.
You have the you've rung along the ding-a-ling bell.
Yeah.
Nice. Monroe Molly says I booked my hotel for Night of Hope today.
Nice.
Now, if only there were tickets to purchase for the event.
It was supposed to be February. It is. I can tell you, it's Corey's fault because I've tried, and they can turn it on at any time. He wants to make sure that everything's right in all the wording and everything. I was like, nothing's changing. It's the exact same. Just turn it live like we promised people they would be. Then he was supposed to have at the end of April, he's supposed to have a meeting with them to discuss it. Now here we are in June. They're still not available. He's like, people can just plan for it. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. They want to pay for it so they can get there. And I'll be harassing him on Thursday.
There you go.
It's 100% him, Stacey. There's no throwing him under the bus. He'll tell you too. If it was up to me, they would have been up in February like we told everybody.
Everybody's saying, hey, Boy Child. Blame Corey when he's not here to defend himself. Says
you tune in Thursday. We'll blame him there too. So, and he'll flat out tell you.
I didn't turn my. There we go. So, yep. And if I remember right, you said on your stream y'all are golfing Thursday night.
We are golfing. We're going to Oak Trail.
Nice. WDB says, I know that, Steve. You're too OCD.
Very much so. I am.
WDB, Nicole says Corey is less OCD than Steve.
I see that as well. He actually is not that much less than me, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's more like he wants to see the wording and this. I'm like, dude, nothing is changing. We're giving everybody the exact same stuff we gave them last time. All you got to do is say, turn it live so people can start. We don't even deal with it. They do.
Yeah.
They're waiting on him to say, turn it live.
Sandy Byers, welcome in, Sandy. Howdy.
I'll get him on Thursday. It'll help me get in his head with the golf too. Not that I need to, but
go ahead and flip the switch.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of people are starting to plan that trip already.
Well, yeah, everybody's got hotels, and
we're what, 6 months away almost at this point.
5. Well, no, 6 from 6 from Friday. So I guess Friday would be 6 months. Yeah.
That means 6 months and 2 weeks from Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy too. This year has flown by.
And it though.
I don't know if I
like this. And as to quote Willy Wonka, it certainly shows no signs of slowing.
That's true.
The rowers just keep on rowing. Yeah, we need to do planning for that trip. I know, Snickerdoodle. Molly rebooked her air fryer for the Baltimore trip yesterday and saved half.
Southwest is running a crazy deal right now.
Southwest birthday sale going. Wow. That's cool. Jan says hers has been booked since January.
Yep. So I said people want to get their tickets bought and purchased and have everything done. So we get it. That was the whole point in us doing it early too, is that people could get it taken care of, already have it budgeted, because people need a budget, and it keeps it away from other expenses at Christmas time. So yeah, I'll get them.
I have a hotel reservation for that time, but
nice.
We'll see.
Very nice.
What you up to? You not fighting the horde?
Oh no, I'm taking.
Does he play Warcraft?
No. Destiny.
They call theirs a horde too.
I'm doing the New York Times crossword right now.
Oh, he's doing a crossword.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what, though, rental cars are ridiculous for that. Rental cars are always,
Yep. They sure
especially
are.
At Baltimore, if you're talking about Baltimore, Molly, I don't know if you're talking about that one or Florida, but
doesn't matter.
Either one.
They're all ridiculous.
It's cheaper for me to rent one here and drive it back and forth than it is to get there and rent one there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ridiculously cheaper.
Yeah, that's a little too dark. I'm going to put a lighter coat on top of that.
I may try to finish R2D2.
Get them up.
I have a ride in Baltimore. I need a large SUV or van for December. Oh. Yeah. So. All right. While we wait on Jerf to join.
Where's the NFL Buccaneers team from?
Tampa Bay.
You're welcome. I guess it's pretty obvious the boy child doesn't follow the NFL.
Yeah, apparently.
No, not at all. I do not know. Oh. Okay.
Oops.
Yeah.
Steve, what is
your
Instagram name?
What's my Instagram name?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Big Daddy something another.
That's crazy.
No, I don't know what it's.
Steve's World.
I think it's Steve's World Disney.
Yes, Steve's World Disney.
There it is.
2 D's, double D's,
No, that's crazy.
double D's in the middle there.
Steve, I'm about to DM you a link.
Oh no.
Don't say what it is out loud.
Okay.
This is a gift idea for dad builds.
Oh.
And in the most vague way possible, I want you to give your opinion on if this is a good gift idea or not. Do you understand the assignment?
I understand the assignment.
Okay. Stand by while I get the link.
Nicole Happy's Haunt dropped the link in the chat, but he's not watching the stream, so that's okay, Nicole. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to lighten this up. He's too dark.
I'm really liking this R2. This is a fun little build. I can only imagine how much fun the big R2 is.
I can only. Well, I bought it for my niece. She loved it.
Well, you know what they say: bigger the better.
That's what they say.
Is that what they say? Who says that?
That's what Molly says.
Besides Molly, I mean, yeah.
Okay. I sent you the link, Steve, on Instagram.
Good night, Corby. Have a good night. And hello, Bill Stephan. Welcome in. Good to see you.
I'm gonna open this link and it's gonna be a bunch of spam stuff.
No, it's not a spam link. It's not a spam link.
I can already. Let's see here. Well, it's not a link. It's just I'll copy and paste it.
Okay.
Paste. Yes.
You think that's a good idea?
As generically as I can put it, yes.
Okay, good. That's what I thought. But I was just making sure. I figured you would know.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad we solved that.
After the stream, Steve, you can tell me.
No, don't you dare. You'll be dead to me.
Sorry,
Steve.
Christopher. I'm a man of honor.
All right, you can tell Jeff, and then I'll just be there listening.
Jeff will tell you. Nah, Jeff wouldn't tell you either.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I prefer not to know it.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so we're putting together the other R2 foot, apparently. Nick D'Ambrosio, welcome in, Nick. Good to see you.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello. All right. Got to get this done. Then I got to add some white to this to lighten it up for the final coat.
Did you show him what you were painting, Steve? I couldn't.
I don't know if I did or not. Hang on a second. I'm back to painting the villains series. Ironically, for the Magical Amount of Hope that we've been talking about, which don't
know.
I'm currently painting Scar. His body's a little dark.
Like that.
His body's a little dark, so I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. But
I like that pose a lot.
I did too. That's why, yeah, when I saw that one, I had like 4 different poses. This is definitely the one that was the best, in my opinion. Let's see here.
I guess I could drop some music in here for us.
Who's the guy that's famous for saying there's a sucker born every minute?
What?
Who famously said there's a sucker born every minute?
How many letters?
Shoot, hold on. Now you gotta make me count them.
Is it like from the author, or is it like the actor?
14 letters, and it doesn't say if it's an author or an actor.
Oh man, who says that? I thought it was Harrison Ford, but I don't think it is.
This is riveting stuff, Chad. I know.
Yep. Drop it like it's hot. I'm trying, Wendy. We're going to drop it. P.T. Barnum, says Stacy Rogers.
He said it in the show, in The Greatest Showman.
Wendy B says Jack Nicholson.
It is P.T. Barnum.
That's not 14 letters.
Who said that? Yeah, Phineas T. Barnum is what it was.
Okay.
Let's go here. And
Words of solidarity.
she says she asked Ray.
Well, he says it in The Greatest Showman, but I didn't know that he's the one who coined it.
Yeah.
But I also would have gone with P.T. Barnum as well instead of Phineas. So nowhere near that answer.
Is that music too loud? I can barely hear it.
No, I mean we can all hear it. It's not too. I don't think it's too loud though. What?
Just realized the music that I was playing.
Was it bad?
No, I meant to play the not copyrighted music for a change, and instead I put on the. Well, it's okay, whatever.
Wow. Well, you already played the intro.
I already played the intro, so we're good. We're liking the.
There goes your 2 cents.
There goes my 2 cents for the night. Yep. We've been grooving on the German song that I played for you.
Mama High is
I didn't think it was all that great.
What?
We really like it. Or at least Steve and I really like it.
Okay, Simon and Garfunkel's Blank Rock.
Dot rock?
It starts with an I.
Oh.
What do you say?
It starts with an I.
I didn't hear what the question was.
Simon and Garfunkel's Blank Rock.
Indie?
Indigo?
Indie? I-N-D-I-E? Or is it the name of one of their songs? I don't know their songs. I know.
I don't know their songs either.
I know Sound of Silence.
Folk rock.
You said it began with an I. How many letters?
4, he said.
Maybe indie rock that they spelled back or wrong with a Y. Got no idea. I'm guessing it's one of their songs. I'm not familiar.
That's what I'm.
Silence. Simon and Garfunkel's Blank Rock begins with an I, 4 letters.
Begins with an I, 4 letters.
I said I know indie rock, but that's usually spelled INDIE.
Yep.
I love this song. I don't know. I just get some good music going on right now.
Good, yeah.
All right, let me get some white in that, and we'll get her lightened up a little bit. I am a rock.
I am a rock. Yeah.
So 3 words.
I am a rock. That's 3. That's, yeah.
Oh, it was I Am a Rock. Thank you, guys.
It's a group effort, I guess.
It is a group effort. We're gonna get this done together, guys.
Take the village.
Owner?
Oh, it is. Wait a minute.
Find out, I guess.
Oh, there. Okay.
Oh, no. That might be too light. We're going to put it on instead. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Who's Bizarro?
Bizarro was Superman's nemesis.
What's his goal?
No, he's the alter ego. Oh, that's the Bizarro world. Never mind.
Yeah.
No, with a P.
What?
P. Bizarro.
Oh. I don't know about Pizarro.
Hey, man.
All right, let's see what this does. It's going to lighten them up, but I don't know if it's what I want.
Blend, Steve, says Windy B.
What?
Windy B says blend.
I am. I'm creating my own colors. I think this is going to work when it dries over the dark.
Not sure what the question is yet, Stacy. He's over here muttering to himself. You.
Oh, are they interested in the next question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be a group effort then. If y'all actually, I didn't know everybody was actually. Okay. All right. 4 letters. Clue is fistfuls of money.
Gobs.
No, the 4 letters. The second letter is A. Clue is fistfuls of money.
Wad.
Wads.
How are y'all so good? I don't. Maybe I'm just not smart enough for this. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. 4 letters. Clue is Baldwin of 30 Rock.
William or Alec. You're right.
Alec.
How do you spell
Not Alex. ALEC.
ALEC.
Oh, okay. Okay. Apparently, I'm just not. Okay. Anyways.
Well, you think classic rock is Blink 182 or Green Day?
I never
Green
said
Day.
anything about Blink 182. I'm not
Green
a Blink
Day.
182 fan. Okay.
He's
All
not
right.
a Blink 182 fan.
Oh man.
That's my mom. Okay. Next one. 5 letters. Clue is bay window.
What do you say?
Clue is bay window, and it's 5-letter word.
Ledge. I don't know if that fits or not.
Crosswords have the rhythm you learn over time. It's
That
not
makes you
you,
feel
it's
better,
practice.
MDB.
Yep.
Do you have any letters in there?
5 letters. The second and third letter. Wait, no. The third and fourth letter is IE.
What was the clue again?
Bay window.
And its
I don't-
third and fourth letter is IE.
I.E.
Third and fourth is IE. 5 letters.
Got me on that one.
I don't know.
And you said bay window.
Bay window. BAY. Bay window is the clue.
I know what a bay window is. Trying to think if it's like a.
Stacy says even Ray is stumped. Okay, how about annual games for football's elite?
Super Bowl.
No, I already tried that. The second letter.
Pro Bowl.
It is Pro Bowl. Okay. Ooh, okay, so that helps us out with the bay window. So
Is it an Go ahead.
5 letters for bay window. First letter is O.
O.
Yes. O blank IE blank.
I don't think that helps.
I don't know.
O blank IE blank.
Who is bay window?
Oh dear.
I have no idea.
Get another one around that word.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right, different one. 8 letters. Clue is like a wave. Oriole. Stephanie says Oriole. Hold up. It was Oriole.
Wow.
I don't know what that is. What's the?
I
Is
don't-
that a different word for bay window?
I thought that was birds that play baseball in Baltimore.
Yeah, the Orioles.
Few more letters.
Huh. All right. Okay. So 8 letters. This next one, 8 letters. Clue is. Make sure I'm not.
We have a standing R2 now.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, scratch the 8-letter one for now. All right. 3 letters. An Oreo window is a form of bay window which protrudes from the main wall of a building but does not reach to the ground. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. All right. 3 letters.
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. 3 letters. The hint or the
Clue.
whatever, yeah, is my gal blank.
Jen. I don't know. It's gonna be a girl's
The
name.
middle letter is A.
A.
So blank
My-
A blank.
My gal pal.
It is not a gal pal. Sal. Everybody's saying Sal. It was Sal. My gal Sal. I don't know
My
what that's
gal.
I don't know what that's from.
I don't know what that is either.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Y'all are helping me out a lot. Okay. All right. Hi, Spaceship Ears.
Oh, John.
Okay. 3 letters. The hint is Drunk's Affliction for short, and it's 3 letters. First letter is D.
Drunk's what?
Drunk's Affliction for short.
DUI.
I already tried DUI. It's not DUI. The first letter is D.
DWI.
DWI.
It is not DWI.
Dry.
It is not dry.
DTS.
Yeah, it is DTS. All right.
Never seen a crossword with so many 3-letter words that didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you real quick what I'm working with here. It's
Oh,
got
I
a.
love it.
Here you can see it, Steve. It's got a bunch of 3 letters on the
Wow.
side.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's a lot of short words.
Delirium tremens, also called DTs or alcohol withdrawal delirium, is an uncommon severe type of alcohol withdrawal. Oh. Okay. Let's see. Okay. We're going to try and get a long one here.
All right, what do you got?
It is, let me count them. 1, 2.
I'm trying. When Cindy Bauer says, "Can I be nosy? I'm trying to move to Florida. Anyone here live there to recommend a good area? I'm going to be bringing my business with me, so I need a good area."
How close to Disney do you want to be? Look on the north or east side of Disney. Do not go south or west. You will be disappointed.
All right, we got it next one. This one's a long one. 13 letters. First letter is G. Clue is feature of many Judd Apatow films. Feature of many Judd Apatow films. 13 letters. First letter is G.
What's that?
Oh god,
You guys know this one?
I know this one. I can't think right now.
I don't know what Judd Apatow
Geronimo. Try Geronimo. That work?
Oh,
no.
no.
Skip a.
He says she kind of wants Central Florida.
I live in Central Florida, but I live southwest of Disney. You do not want to live southwest of Disney. Traffic is atrocious, and businesses are not as thriving here. Look at the Winter Park, Windermere. Dr. Phillips is expensive, but if you can live in that whole area, Winter Park, Hamlin's would be a great area. Clearwater, or not Clearwater, Claremont, Clermont. Those will all be good locations for a business and living.
Gross South humor. That's it. Gross South. I don't know what that is. Gross South humor. But that was right. Okay. I don't know what that is. Thank you, Stacey.
I think it's 3 words. Gross out humor.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense.
I'm not sure I know who whatever you said judge somebody is.
Judd Apatow.
All right. New one. 4 letters. Second letter is A. Clue is having a bit of smog.
Having a bit of smog?
Smog. S-M-O-G.
How many letters?
Whatever crossword you're doing is really stupid. I do them every day. I'm on a different app, and they're like big words and hard questions, but I don't have any idea what any of this stuff is I'm trying to say.
Hazy was right. Stephanie got it close with Haze. Stacy was right with Hazy.
What are you just typing stuff in and it tells you if it's right or wrong?
I have it on auto check for the whole word.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Stephanie says Steve won't know unless it's Disney.
Oh no, I've got a lot of useless knowledge, but I've never seen a crossword with these little words.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the little words because I've got another one for you.
Sandy said, awesome. Thanks, Steve. I'm a pastry chef, so I definitely need a good business area.
Yeah, you don't want to be down here then.
All right, Steve, here's another good one for you. 3 letters.
3? What is going
3
on
letters.
with this crossword?
3 letters. The middle letter is A. The clue is Cheers setting.
Bar.
What? How do y'all get this?
Cheers
That's a
was a
TV
show.
show.
That's easy.
Oh, why?
It's a TV show, where everybody knows your name.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
That would actually make sense.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Okay. All right, this one. 7 letters. First 2 are B, U. The clue is money for a trip across town.
How many letters?
7.
Bus fare.
Yeah.
It is bus fare. Okay. I'm not good at this. This is fun, but I'm not good at it. Okay. We've almost got the whole thing finished, guys.
Mike ADNYC got that one.
Okay. Okay. This one is 5 letters. The second and third letter is ER. Clue is alternative to Tic Tacs.
Certs.
Certs. How do you spell that?
CERTS.
I've never heard of that. Close. See here. Okay. Ooh, I just got one all on my own.
I am smart.
Shut up. If I'm dumb, that's just a reflection on your genetics. All right.
I'm only responsible for 50%. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. All right. Next one. 5 letters. Second and third letter is LE. Clue is fortunate old style.
Fortunate what?
Old style. Fortunate old style.
I don't know old stuff.
5 letters.
Fortunate old style.
I'm guessing it means in old style. Like, what's an old slang term for fortunate?
It was Wendy B. It is not blessed with an ED, but it was blessed with a T. So you were right. It was blessed. Okay.
Okay, so pause your game a minute.
Pause my crossword.
Yeah, pause your crossword a minute.
Okay.
So here's the deal, Steve. This is R2D2 complete. However, this version of R2, you can either have him plain. I call him plain, or you can have these little arms sticking out on him.
He needs the arms. Accessories.
I don't like the arms sticking out.
Then don't put them on.
Then I'm not gonna put them on. Yeah.
Oh, Stacy says to read, Judd Apatow produced the movies Crossing the Bridge, The Cable Guy, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, and Super.
Here you go. There's R2.
Nice.
Like that a lot.
Which one are you going to start now? Or are you going to do a puzzle?
I was about to say, I don't know if I'm going to. May start a puzzle next time.
Or now?
You don't want to start on your X-Wing?
Last big one I've got left.
I'm sure, knowing you, you'll probably have a big one on the way here. Never stay out of stock for too long.
I could build this brick head.
Yeah, do that.
All right.
Display shelf, perfect. Yeah, I think so, Wendy B. It's definitely going to go up there. All right. Continue on, puzzle boy.
Here's the next one. This one is 6 letters. First letter is R. Clue is does more tailoring on as a skirt.
Does what?
It's 6 letters. First letter is R. clue is does more tailoring on as a skirt.
Much about women's clothing, fortunately. I don't know. Does more tailoring on as a woman's or as a skirt?
As a skirt. It starts with R.
I don't know. Somebody got to look it up on Google.
Rehem.
I'm sorry. I was thinking it's like rehem.
Rehems.
That's what I was saying.
Right. It is rehems.
Are you serious? That's what the answer is?
Yeah.
Rehems.
That's so dumb.
Okay. This is the last one. This is the last one to finish the whole thing. This one is also 6 letters. First letter is S. The clue is least baddie.
Least what?
Least baddie with a B.
How many letters?
Sanest.
Huh?
Sanest.
How you spell that?
Sanest.
It is sanest. That's the whole thing.
Way to go. You did it.
We
did it.
There's our cleared out board, guys. We did it together. It was a group effort.
It's the first time he's ever finished that puzzle.
That's the first time I've ever attempted that puzzle. It took us 42 minutes and 44 seconds.
It didn't take us that long. It took you that long to ask for help.
Shut up. I didn't ask for comments from the peanut gallery. On that note, I'm gonna head up. I need to be
Boy, child, you play trivia crack?
Say what?
You play trivia crack?
I used to play trivia crack when it was mainstream.
It's still good.
All right.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for the help on the crossword.
Good night, buddy.
Text me your work, Susan.
Okay. Have fun.
Good night, Pee Wee.
All right. I like what the color did here. I don't think I'm going to put another coat on because it still has the dark undertone.
Yeah.
It's not as dark yet. It really looks close to where he's at now. That's a lot closer to his real color.
Oh, that is. Yeah, that's good.
So I think I'm going to leave it like that. All right.
I think we got stood up by Jerv. He must be in the pool.
Badger. I'll be right back. I'm just going to wash these out.
All
I
right.
can still hear it and everything.
Okay.
Just, no pants Tuesday.
All good. So this one appears to be printed on parts instead of stickers.
What?
Usual. Or Lego lately. Now for Sudoku. Yeah, exactly. Judy snoring.
All right.
Wait, if he said dude is snoring, he's still coming off of that cruise.
He had a lot of energy last night off that cruise.
He did.
Out there just loving life, dancing.
One to town.
All right. Now, I need green in there too. I'm gonna blow this picture up and see its colors. Oh, see that? Okay, so that's gonna be the gray. It's not a black.
It was the cruise high. Today is the low. Yeah. Probably. Well, we have less than 24 hours for the last event in Greenlock Valley.
Yeah? You gonna get it, or was it over?
It's not over yet, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish the last thing.
Does it end at midnight?
Don't think so. According to the timer, it doesn't.
If it goes tomorrow, you can still get it then.
Yeah, I may still be able to. If I can get out here that early.
Oh man, it's too chunky. Make it chunky. I don't like that. Cause all kinds of issues.
Amanda Wallace, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hello.
Good night, Debbie Thuner. Hope you have a good
Night.
Wednesday. Had to stop and think what tomorrow is.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
I gotta do a thumbnail. Takes me hours to do those things. Not really. Did the music die?
No.
I was hoping today would not be the day.
Yep, we're still good.
Is that Beethoven?
I think so. I can't hear it, to be honest.
This is the lightest sounding song so far. The rest of them have been really, really up there. We can hear everything. I can't hear this one.
Yeah. After doing the big bags on this R2, it's kind of funny to come down to this one. It has 4 bags for this tiny little brickhead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Now I hear it.
Any ideas what we're doing tomorrow night, Steve?
Yeah. A big extravaganza.
Oh. Look forward to then.
We do have not tomorrow night. We do a poetry night coming up though.
Sweet. So fun.
I have a special guest on that one.
Oh. Probably somebody that likes poetry and whatnot.
Maybe. Doesn't necessarily have to like poetry as much as they have to pretend to like it. It's whether or not they can really sell it. I love this song. Is this Vitamin String Quartet?
Yes.
Do you watch America's Got Talent at all?
No. No.
The guy from Indiana, Terre Haute, which is a city I'm very familiar with. That was on there the other night. He's a 55-year-old janitor that got out and sung this song. He was ridiculous. Got a golden buzzer.
Oh wow.
He was like, he reminded me a lot of you, very shy and timid and
yeah,
like just overwhelmed. I don't want to say that, that's not a negative to you. That's just saying overwhelmed by being on a big stage like that. That's not really in their element, you know?
Yeah.
And he just crushed the song and then got the golden buzzer. I was like, yep. Something Chris would do.
That's cool.
He didn't know what to say while he was standing up there. He's like, kids call me Mr. Richard. And they were like, okay, no more questions. Just go ahead and go to it. So. And he was nervous. He was up there like fanning himself off going, whew, it's a long time coming. And, you know, it's just, and then he got his moment.
Sandy said that guy was amazing.
He was really good. Okay, so there's the black. I think I'm done with that now. So I got to go get a green for his eyes and the gray, and then I'll be done. And the light blue. Be right back.
Okay.
That gray. Neon green. I'll touch the black in here. Mix it all together. It's not dark enough. There we go. Still not going to be dark enough. Such a good song.
Speaking of shows, I have fallen into the.
I hope I know what you're going to say.
The wasteland that is watching the TV show, the history TV show, Alone.
No, don't know what that is. Not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Is that where they drop people off in the middle of The
Yes.
the jungle and have to survive.
Yes.
And that's good. You like it?
And whoever survives the longest wins. Yes.
Interesting.
I always thought it was a stupid idea, stupid premise. And
you're
my
stuck
TV,
watching.
when I turned it on one night, was on a channel that's all it shows. Just that 24 hours a day is alone.
Really?
And I sat there for some reason watching it. And I've got sucked into it.
A train wreck. I got one of those going on right now that I'm called Bridgerton. There we go. That's the darkness I want. Right there. It's probably supposed to be a little darker than that. It's okay. We can go darker on the second coat.
Thank you, Stacy. I'll watch the video after the stream. You sent me the video of the guy you were talking about.
Yeah, he was good. Okay, so this should be his ears. Oh, that's gonna be good. It's gonna be perfect, actually. Yeah, so I started rewatching Bridgerton before I watched the new season because then there's that other show I got to watch in between it after season 2. I can't remember it's on my watch list.
Yeah.
But I got sucked into another one because I couldn't remember if people told me to watch The Crown or The Regime. And I started watching The Regime. It's only one season.
Uh-huh.
One of the weirdest shows I've ever seen. But I got sucked in. It was like only 6 episodes, and I was like, I'm too far in to quit watching now. It's got Kate Winslet in it. She's awesome. Usually.
Oh, I think I saw the trailer for that show.
It didn't make any sense. And then I kind of understood what was going on. And the way it ended, I don't know. It was different. Very interesting show. And not necessarily in a good way. So then I started watching Bridgerton halfway through season 1. And I'm glad I'm rewatching it because there's a lot that I forgot about.
Speaking of another show we like, Steve.
Yep.
I saw it was confirmed that season 5 of The Boys is the last season.
Oh, it's gonna be the last one.
Yep.
Which that's the one that's coming out here next week.
Yep. Snickerdoodle says she's reading the books now. Part 2 of season 3 in 2 days. I will not be disturbed while I watch. The Crown is good.
I thought the second part of season 2 already came out. No?
No, 2 days, she said. Weenie B says The Crown, that's the one. Very, very good for as long as I watched.
It's like 5 seasons, I think, right now. Like, and he's got black around him. What bag are you on?
Bag number 4.
Already?
Yep.
So you can find something else to build.
I do his feet.
What was the brickhead? Who is it you're working on?
This is the Commander Cody one.
That's right. You get the blue helmet or whatever.
Orange, yeah.
Orange. Who's the one with the blue stripe?
That's Captain Rex.
Rex. That's okay. Close to being able to do the blue on this and being done with it. I need like another. You're gonna have to build another brickhead or something.
Okay.
If that's gonna be the case. If not, we'll just wait.
I have another brickhead I could build.
It's up to the people. I'm pretty pleased with the way he's coming out now. With his the fur finally. Whoa, I almost did that the wrong color. I tell you, they were resealing our road here.
Oh no.
So last night when I got home, I had to park, which, after my stream was pretty late, I had to park on the next street over.
Jeez.
And then I had to walk over here. Well, tonight they were supposed to have a different area done, and apparently the rain pushed it off. So I'm glad they got ours done, because now I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. That's no fun. I mean, it's good for the after effect, but it's annoying when it's being done.
But they also just did it like a couple years ago. So a lot of people are upset. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
It's like instead of lowering like the HOA fees, they think they're just doing it to use up the money. So
yeah, they'll have that too.
But that being said, the roads really weren't in need of it, in my opinion. But I am glad they started on my road and that it's done. And like, I'm not going to, other than a couple extra cars parking on our street, we're in the middle of it. So they're not going to come down as far anyways. They're going to park on the ends.
Yeah.
But this morning when I got up, it starts at 6:30 a.m. We had to be our cars had to be out of here by 6:30 a.m. yesterday. Otherwise they'd have been towed. Luckily, I leave before that for work, so I really didn't care. But there's people, I'm sure, that affected greatly. Then this morning, as I was walking to my car, I noticed tire tracks in it. Somebody didn't listen, and all they have to do is follow the tire tracks back to where they started.
Yeah.
And
they gonna get busted.
Oh man, he's looking cool now. Okay. And then I need yellow. I think I'm going to use the brightest yellow I got. Nah, that's really bright. Hang on. Okay. Let's just go with lightest yellow better. Okay. Oh, that's running. Let's do that again. Gonna make it work. It's the color I want. Ow. Wendy quits waiting. Wendy quits watching a series when they make her wait a year or more. Final season. So I wound up signing up for Netflix, which I'm goes against everything I stand for.
You just canceled it, I thought.
No, not Netflix. I canceled Apple.
Oh yeah.
But I went ahead and signed up for Netflix because besides Bridgerton, there's other things I wanted to see on there. And on top of that, the final season of You is coming out. I don't know if you've seen You or not.
Have not, but you keep telling me about it.
Man, that's a good series. Real good series. Anyways, that final season's coming out too. It's supposed to be right. Man, it's crazy. Just adding that gray and this yellow.
Yeah.
And is making a ton of difference in making this thing look a lot more complete. You know what I mean? I know it sounds stupid because that's really all I got left, but I mean, like, the colors are popping. And he actually looks like Scar now. Before, I didn't think so. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. All right, now let me get the green in there. And then all I got left is, I do his whiskers. But I'll come back and outline that later. I just want to get the blue painted. Kevin Spacey in that political drama. What was that one? Yeah, I don't like waiting either. That's why I like some of these. I like waiting until they're almost done or the last season's coming out before I start watching them.
Binge watch it.
So I could, yeah, like The Crown, for instance. It's not ending, I don't think, but I got 5 seasons to watch. So I feel your pain.
I'll be honest, that's how I did Game of Thrones. I didn't start watching Game of Thrones until like season 5 or 6 was on the air.
Yeah, so I couldn't do that one. That one I had to watch from the beginning.
Well, I mean, I went back and started it, but I binge watched it up until like I was waiting for season 7 to release.
Yeah. Nope, that's the one show, and it did the best ever, in my opinion. If of cliffhangers from one week to the other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that made him look a lot better. Here's what he looks like now, with his head all
that's
colored
nice.
in.
Yeah.
So. All right, so now I gotta wait for that to dry. Then we can do the blue. Nail this one. And I love the way his fur turned out finally. I did not like it at all. How's everybody doing? House of Cards. I know. Okay. Yeah.
There's Cody.
What?
There's Commander Cody.
What's he from? I know. I've heard him, but I have no idea who he is.
The Clone Troopers.
Oh.
Yeah.
And which one's Rex from?
Same thing.
Okay, that's why I don't know either one of them. So who's your other brickhead you got to build? And how are you going to build him?
The other one I've got to build is
Spider-Man,
Iron Spider.
It's up to you if you want to build him or not. If you don't want to build him tonight, I'll stop where I'm at because I won't get out the blue. But if you want to go,
I think I might call it a night.
Okay.
Switch over here. I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. Hope you enjoyed book time and a little bit of chill. I love this R2D2. Kind of makes me wonder how much fun the big one is to build.
My niece loved him.
I bet. Hope everybody has a good night and a good Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Be sure to check out Tina tomorrow at 5, T. Marie's Place. Amy AJC Magic at 6. You got Joy at 8. Joy S and the
Special
ladies.
guest.
Huh?
They have a special guest on about Father's Day.
They do. They do. And the special guest has a special video.
Oh, wonder
Yeah.
where you got that.
And then This and That tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. And Pete after that, I think.
I won't be last tonight, but you guys go ahead and tell Jeff I was. Look, I can't lie. I got to be fair with what I see. Sorry.
I'll pass the message along for you, Wendy. Hope everybody has a good night, and thank you for hanging out. Thank you for chilling. Sandy says thank you for your input, Steve.
Quite welcome.
On the location. And yeah, we'll see you back maybe Thursday night after Corey. We'll see. Yeah. Hope y'all have a good night and a good Wednesday. Take care. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye, toodles.